Imagine waking up tomorrow, grabbing your phone, and seeing headlines that the Iraqi Dinar is trading at 4.21 to the US dollar, while the Vietnamese Dong has surged to 3.04. Overnight, millions of currency holders worldwide would find themselves wealthy beyond anything they've dreamed of. This is the exact rumor spreading through investor communities in 2025, fueling excitement, heated debates, and renewed optimism among those who've held onto these currencies for years. But can this really happen, or is it just another cycle of speculation? In today's breakdown, we'll sort through the facts, the hype, and what these claims could actually mean for your future if you own dinar or dong right now. At the moment, the Iraqi dinar trades at around 300 dinars for a single US dollar. That puts the value of one dinar at less than a penny. For it to jump to 4.21, we're talking about one of the largest currency reevaluations the world has ever seen. It wouldn't just be a big move, it would be a financial shockwave across the globe. For Vietnam, the dong trades near 24,000 per dollar, giving it a value of under half a cent. A sudden rise to 3.04 would mean an increase of millions of percent numbers that are staggering to even consider. While they sound thrilling, these kinds of figures force us to ask how something so extreme could ever take place. Those who believe in the rumors point to natural resources and economic growth as justification. Iraq is rich in oil, holding over 140 billion barrels in proven reserves. The idea is that if the government stabilizes and manages this wealth properly, the currency should reflect that value. Vietnam's supporters highlight its fast-growing economy, its thriving manufacturing sector, and growing role in global supply chains. Over the last 2 decades, Vietnam has earned the nickname Factory of the World, producing everything from electronics to clothing. Backers argue this industrial strength supports the idea of a stronger dong. To understand whether such moves are possible, we need to step back and look at what truly drives currency value. A nation's resources alone don't determine strength. What really matters is international trust, trust in the government, stability of its financial institutions, and the long-term predictability of its policies. For Iraq, this would require lasting political stability, consistent policies, and a reliable banking system that can attract global investment. Vietnam, while more stable, also needs to provide predictable governance and policies that protect investors. Without these conditions, oil or factories alone cannot push a currency to extreme highs. Consider the numbers more closely. For the dinar, moving from current levels to 4.21 would mean a rise of more than 500,000%. For the dong, jumping to 3.04 would be an increase exceeding 7 million percent. These aren't just huge, they're unprecedented in modern times. The only comparable events in history involve currency crises, redenominations, or complete monetary resets. After World War II, Germany replaced its currency with the Deutschmark at 1001. Turkey removed 6 zeros from the lira in 2005, but that didn't magically multiply its value, it was just redenomination. History shows currencies can change dramatically, but never in a way that instantly makes investors wealthy overnight. Much of the optimism around the dinar is based on Iraq's oil wealth. As the second largest exporter in OPEC, Iraq plays a massive role in global energy markets. But translating oil reserves into a strong currency isn't straightforward. Revenue must be managed transparently, invested wisely in infrastructure, and used to diversify the economy beyond oil. Otherwise, Iraq risks falling into the resource curse, where reliance on one export harms other sectors. To truly strengthen the dinar, Iraq needs to build credibility with investors, force clear financial rules, and prove itself a dependable economic partner. Oil alone is not enough to trigger a major revaluation. Vietnam presents a very different case. Unlike Iraq, it doesn't depend on oil, but has built its economy around manufacturing and exports. The country produces electronics, apparel, and countless goods for global brands, helping sustain growth rates of 6% to 7% annually. This success has earned Vietnam a place as one of Asia's economic powerhouses. But rapid growth doesn't automatically equal a sudden currency surge. In fact, governments often avoid sharp increases because they make exports less competitive. If the dong jumped to 3.04 overnight, Vietnam's exports would become far more expensive, potentially crippling the economy instead of boosting it. Central banks play the most important role in shaping currency value, and their top priority is stability. They aim for predictable movements that let businesses and investors plan ahead. Sudden, massive reevaluations would create chaos, disrupt trade, and damage trust. That's why such extreme changes are almost never allowed. Even when economies grow quickly, central banks prefer controlled appreciation over time. This makes the rumors of 4.21 and 3.04 highly unlikely. History also shows that when countries do change currency values through redenominations or reforms, they announce it publicly, with clear timelines. Secret overnight reevaluations simply don't happen. Still, that doesn't mean these currencies lack potential. Iraq and Vietnam both have paths to gradual strength. Iraq's road lies in stabilizing its politics, modernizing infrastructure, and expanding beyond oil. Vietnam's challenge is sustaining growth while moving into higher-value industries like tech and innovation. If these steps are taken, both countries could see their currencies appreciate, but slowly and steadily, not in explosive leaps. Real economic power builds step by step, over years or decades, not overnight. For investors, patience and realistic expectations are essential. It's also critical to remember that currencies can fall just as quickly as they rise. Political instability, conflict, corruption, or global downturns can all push exchange rates downward. Iraq's history of unrest and governance challenges remains a risk even today. Vietnam, though much more stable, could face trouble if global demand for its exports weakens. Investors must weigh these risks alongside potential rewards. Betting everything on one currency, no matter how exciting the story, is dangerous. Diversification across stocks, bonds, real estate, and multiple assets remains the smarter, safer strategy. Another cautionary note: wherever rumors of overnight wealth circulate, scammers aren't far behind. They promise insider knowledge, guaranteed profits, or secret exchange deals. But no one can guarantee what a currency will do. Someone claims to have access to confidential government plans or insists you'll become rich if you buy right now. That's a warning sign. Currency markets are uncertain by nature. Anyone offering certainty is either misinformed or intentionally misleading. Staying alert to these red flags can help protect you from costly mistakes. So what would it take for the dinar to rise realistically? First, Iraq must secure long-term political stability, so investors can trust that policies won't change with every power shift. Second, the banking sector needs reform, with transparent and secure systems. Third, the economy must diversify beyond oil. Only with these foundations could the dinar strengthen sustainably. Vietnam's path is more about building on what it has achieved, maintaining steady growth, attracting more foreign investment, and climbing up the value chain. If the country invests in education, technology, and innovation, the dong could gradually appreciate. But let's imagine for a moment that the bold reevaluations to 4.21 and 3.04 did happen. Holders of dinar and dong would see life-changing wealth overnight. Yet for Iraq and Vietnam, the consequences would be disastrous. Exports would collapse, inflation could skyrocket, and international contracts would be thrown into turmoil. What looks like a dream for investors could quickly turn into an economic nightmare for the countries themselves. This is exactly why massive overnight reevaluations almost never occur in practice. Gradual managed appreciation is far more realistic and sustainable. For Iraq, this might mean the dinar slowly rising as stability returns and investment flows in. For Vietnam, it could mean the dong strengthening as it continues its growth and modernization path. These are long-term, steady journeys, not quick windfalls. Investors who understand this reality will make smarter, safer choices. Those chasing instant riches may find only disappointment. In today's interconnected world, currencies don't move in isolation. They impact trade, finance, and global politics. A sudden overnight revaluation would ripple across the globe, creating chaos. No country would risk such a move without years of planning. So what's the real takeaway from these rumors? The dramatic numbers for 0.21 for the dinar and 3.04 for the dong are almost certainly exaggerated. Both Iraq and Vietnam have potential, but their currencies will strengthen only through slow, deliberate progress. Investors should stay grounded, spread their risks, and avoid betting their futures on hype. Currency investing can play a role in your portfolio, but it should never be your only plan. And as always, remember, if something sounds too good to be true, it almost always is. Stay cautious, stay informed, and focus on the bigger picture.